Hi guys, do you know why English water companies have been pumping raw sewage into rivers, lakes and the sea? Perhaps you were thinking poor enforcement of regulations. Perhaps you were thinking greed when it comes to profit. No, none of those it seems. Asylum seekers and migrants are at fault. Well, that was the opinion of a lady who attended the Reform UK conference wearing a Nigel Farage t-shirt. Joe Politics attended the event, so you didn't have to, and as you would imagine, the core position, it seems, when it comes to the party supporters, is that immigration is a massive problem. Have a listen.
It's not white privilege, it's me working and having generational wealth.
In the same way that if I go to Dubai or Turkey, where it's like strong Muslim, I shouldn't be overpowering my English Christian views there, because it's like respect, you know?
What the hell are English Christian views? English Christian views. Okay. But also, how are Muslims overpowering Britain? In what way are they overpowering Christians in Britain? You're saying, well, you know, we shouldn't go to Dubai and try and overpower them with English Christian views, which I don't know what those are. But in what way are Muslims coming to Britain, overpowering Christians? I don't understand.
Fair enough, like, there's an argument that we stole some things off the Indians. I get that. But at the end of the day, we were able to capitalise it and bring it to the mass, yeah?
Do you know what the British Empire did in India? It's not that they stole a few things. I'm not even going to go down into the history of this. There's a massive problem of education here. People think, well, we stole a few things, but we spread these great stolen items around. You know, we brought these things to the masses in some way. That we benefited, the empire benefited at the end of the day.
And that's what we were excelled in.
It's been a great year for reform. They won 4 million votes at the general election, they returned 5 MPs to Parliament, and only one of them has done jail time for assaulting a partner. There's clearly a lot to celebrate, so I've come to party conference to meet the members. What we're doing here today?
What am I doing here today? I'm going to the Reform conference.
I think Britain is on the verge of collapse if something doesn't change soon, because I don't think the infrastructure can cope with the, shall we say, the ever-increasing population. That's the problem.
So I'm very patriotic. I see that our country has Judeo-Christian values, and that is one of the reasons fundamentally.
Okay, do you understand what these values are supposed to be? These values are supposed to be, for example, as Jesus said, love thy neighbour as thyself. Not, we don't want immigrants coming here because they're going to wreck the place. You know, thou shalt not steal. You know, at the beginning you said, well, it was okay to steal because we shared these things around. At what stage does the Christian values enter the discussion?
Why we've prospered throughout history. If you look at the amount of inventions, there's a great stat that was put out: 51% of all inventions, were invented by British people. But if you look at the triangle, there's a big triangle which goes between it's in Europe to the UK, and the vast majority, overriding majority of inventions were invented in those countries.
Okay, but what's that got to do with anything? Britain invented a lot, and? I don't understand the point she's trying to make here.
In policy, we need, well, the same as, you know, the reform message is we need to tighten up these border controls. They're the cause of all the other ills of the country. The housing, the cost of living, and everything else that people are complaining about.
And here we have the core message. Immigration is the problem. Farage is succeeding here. He is certainly succeeding with Reform UK supporters. See, he did exactly the same thing when it came to Brexit. We need to leave the European Union and then we'll be able to fix the ills that are facing society. It's a cost of living crisis. If we leave the European Union, we'll be able to fix that. There's a housing issue. If we leave the European Union, we'll be able to fix that. The NHS waiting list, we can bring it down if we leave the European Union. And now, once again, just replace leaving the European Union with bringing down immigration. Now, of course, they ignore the point and the fact that housing is the responsibility of the government. They decide how many new houses are built. When it comes to the NHS, the government decides if people fill vacancies or not. They decide if the NHS gets the funding it needs. It's not the immigrants, but of course it's an easy scapegoat.
Is the main cause the amount of people here?
Because in a free democratic society, we have to tolerate. We have to make that. Everybody has a choice to live their own lives, do what they like if they're an adult. We don't and shouldn't celebrate it. Because, for example, the pride, nothing against the pride flag as such, but certain religions, that is very offensive to them. So should it be cover the streets? Should it? For me, the only thing that should cover the streets is the Union Jack, because that incorporates everything that is what this country is about, everything that is democratic, everything that a person is free to do, free to believe, free to believe what religion is, how they live their lives as they're an adult, what they do with themselves, how they dress, everything. That should be what it is.
There's too many.
Okay, you started off by saying don't celebrate a flag, and then you finish with, well, we should sort of celebrate the Union flag. I actually got it wrong there. He was calling it the Union Jack. It's not the Union Jack, it's the Union flag. But, the Patriots don't even know which flag they're talking about. Tell that to the Scots. The Scots are not a huge fan of the Union flag.
People come to the country and the services can't take it. This whole issue as well, I work in the wastewater sector, the whole issue with sewage overflows and we have sewage overflows going into rivers. It's because the networks can't take the amount of people that are coming onto the grid. For me personally, in my opinion, any new developments should finance their own in-house.
Okay. So the reason the water companies in England, notice this isn't happening anywhere else. This is not happening in Wales. It's not happening in Scotland. It's not happening in Northern Ireland. But in England and other parts of Europe. But in England, it's the reason why they have to pump all this raw sewage into rivers, lakes and the sea is nothing to do with profit, is nothing to do with weak regulations or weak enforcement of regulations. It's all down to there are too many people. The system is overloaded. What's funny about all of these arguments being put forward against immigration, these are the same people, these right-wingers who will say, look, we're not having enough kids. British people are not having enough kids. The population is declining. We need to have more British children. This is the argument they will put forward. But at the same time, they'll say public services are on their knees because there are too many people. Of course, when they say too many people, they don't mean too many British people. They say too many foreigners. That's what they're trying to get at. So these are the people, at the end of the day, who are representing Reform UK. These are the people who are backing the likes of Farage. And these are their opinions. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.